Everyone knows when Star Wars takes place. It's the first thing you see. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But between the sequels, prequels, and spin-offs, it gets harder to pin down just how long ago these Star Wars stories happened. Good news is, this is the timeline you've been looking for. Though Star Wars has an entire universe of outside materials, we're gonna stick with the cinematic timeline for now. That means all the main episodes, Solo, and Rogue One, and some extended universe knowledge to connect the dots. Even so, there's a lot we won't be able to cover. So, in the spirit of the rise of Skywalker, we're going to try to stick to the primary story around the Skywalker line. I know you're dying to hear about everything on Canto Bight, but unfortunately, we don't have time for stuff like that. To chart our calendar, we'll be using the standard BBY and ABY year system. That's before and after the Battle of Yavin, aka the ending of A New Hope. Okay, no time to waste. At the sound of the gong, we begin. A long time ago, on the oceanic planet of Octo, Age of the Jedi, a highly force-sensitive denizen founds the Jedi Order. The Jedi erect their first temple and village, and chronicle their philosophies in a collection of ancient texts, all of which are cared for by the native Lanai. You might know them better as the Caretakers, those turtle nun things that hang out with Luke. In addition to these holy sites, the Jedi established the Temple of Wills in the holy city of Jeddah. The Jedi Order protects the Old Republic, the democratic government based on the planet Coruscant that peacefully unites all the star systems. That peace is threatened when one rogue Jedi taps into the dark side of the Force, driven by anger and fear. The Order banishes the rogue Jedi, but he takes a band of followers with him and forms the Sith. The resulting schism leads to a civil war that ravages the Old Republic. Ultimately, the Jedi are victorious and force the Sith to retreat to the darkest corner of the galaxy. The Jedi build a new temple on Coruscant atop an old Sith shrine, which becomes their central hub for millennia to come. Through the years, the Sith lie dormant, waiting to strike again. Age of Republic, circa 1000 BBY to 24 BBY. The Old Republic soft relaunches as the Galactic Republic. In this new governing body, worlds elect senators to represent them on a galactic senate. The Supreme Chancellor oversees the Senate. We'll keep the space politics to a minimum, but they're important. I'll just fast forward to 32 BBY. Wealthy corporations like the Trade Federation have representation in the new corrupt Senate. They're in cahoots with the Sith Lord Darth Sidious and his apprentice, Darth Maul. Sidious is scheming to restore the Sith Empire by way of lobbying and political influence. To that end, Sidious has been posing as Senator Palpatine, a representative of Naboo. To moderate the Trade Federation's reach, the Galactic Republic passes a law that taxes previously untaxed trading areas. That rubs the Federation in all the wrong ways. A Jedi Master named Sifo Dyas worries that this dispute will escalate into war, so he urges the Galactic Republic to prepare an army. When his fellow Jedi refuse to listen, Sifo Dyas takes matters into his own hands. He contacts the scientists on the planet Kamino, and they begin production on a clone army, using the bounty hunter Jango Fett as a base model. Shortly afterward, Sifo Dyas dies, and Darth Sidious incorporates the clone army into his master plan. In protest of the new taxation, the Trade Federation sets up a blockade on the planet Naboo. Yep, the very same planet that Senator Palpatine represents. To end the conflict with discreet negotiations, Supreme Chancellor Finis Valorum sends Jedi Knight Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Federation flagship. But when they arrive, Darth Sidious orders their execution and the abduction of Naboo's queen, Padme Amidala. The Jedi survive the ambush and flee to the planet's surface. On Naboo, they meet a eccentric Gungan named Jar Jar Binks. He helps escort them to the Gungan city and onwards towards Theed, Naboo's capital. And then he just kinda sticks around. They secure Queen Amidala, but their ship's hyperdrive is damaged in the fray. Hey, if a little astromech droid named R2-D2 didn't repair the ship's generator, they would have been sitting ducks. So before they can escort Padme back to Coruscant, they have to make a pit stop on the desert planet of Tatooine. While window shopping for a replacement hyperdrive part, they meet a young pilot named Anakin Skywalker and his protocol droid in progress, C-3PO. Anakin and his mother are slaves to the junk dealer Watto, but Qui-Gon senses that the Force is strong in Anakin, so he makes a bet with the owner. If Anakin can win the local pod race, then Watto will hand over the hyperdrive part and the boy. Watto agrees, Anakin wins, and they all head for Coruscant. Senator Palpatine persuades Padme to push for Supreme Chancellor Valorum's removal, insisting that he's corrupt. The Senate plays right into Palpatine's hands and elects him in Valorum's place. Good. Then, according to plan, the Trade Federation attacks. In the Battle of Naboo, the Gungans, including Jar Jar, help fend off the Federation's droid army, while Darth Maul confronts Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Maul kills the Master Jedi, but Obi-Wan slices Maul clean in half and lets him fall down a reactor shaft or something. With Naboo safe, Obi-Wan becomes a Jedi Knight, and Anakin starts training as his Padawan. The Separatist Crisis and the Clone Wars, 24 BBY to 19 BBY. For the next decade, the conflict between the Galactic Republic and its dissenters escalates. In 24 BBY, the estranged star systems and megacorporations rally together under rogue Jedi Count Dooku. They form the Confederacy of Independent Systems to secede from the Republic. To avenge their defeat on Naboo, the Trade Federation hires the bounty hunter Jango Fett to assassinate Queen Amidala. In response, the Jedi Council deploys Anakin as her bodyguard while Obi-Wan investigates. The trail leads him to Kamino, where he discovers Sifo Dyas's secret clone army and Jango. Obi-Wan pursues him to the planet Geonosis, where the Confederacy is convening. Anakin and Padme are busy having a forbidden romance, but they head to Geonosis to rescue Obi-Wan, and they all get captured. But they don't have to wait long for reinforcements. Back on Coruscant, Jar Jar suggests that the Senate give emergency powers to Palpatine. Sure enough, his Dello Felegates agree, and Palpatine's first move is to send an army of Jedi and clones to Geonosis. Everyone throws down at the Battle of Geonosis. Mace Windu slices Jango's head off, Count Dooku slices Anakin's hand off, and the Clone Wars are officially underway. The Clone Wars rage on for 3 years. It's an excellent TV series, highly recommend. But we're gonna skip to the end in 19 BBY. With the armed forces of the Republic dispatched across the galaxy, Coruscant is left unguarded. General Grievous takes advantage of the opening and abducts Chancellor Palpatine, but not really. Obi-Wan and Anakin save him. Then Palpatine convinces Anakin to execute Count Dooku, who is also on board the ship. Upon their return to the surface, Anakin learns that Padme is pregnant. Then Palpatine appoints him to the Jedi Council. So things are looking good. But the other Jedi refuse to grant him the rank of Master. Anakin is outraged, driving a wedge even deeper between him and the Council. While Obi-Wan is off chasing Grievous, Anakin cozies up to Palpatine, who reveals his true alliance to the Sith. Normally, Anakin would turn him over to the Jedi Council, but he's been having visions of Padme's death. Once Palpatine tempts him with the power to save her, Anakin is conflicted. Still, he informs the Jedi Council. A squadron of Jedi arrive at the Chancellor's door to arrest him, and Mace Windu has him on the ropes. Unfortunately, Anakin rolls up, attacks Mace Windu, and Palpatine sends the Jedi Master flying with some Force lightning. Heavily scarred, Palpatine manipulates the situation to demonstrate the danger of the Jedi, then initiates Order 66. Which designates all Jedi as enemies of the Republic. Clone troopers across the galaxy eradicate the Jedi in a great purge. Darth Sidious knights Anakin as his new Sith apprentice, heretofore known as Darth Vader. In his first act of villainy, Vader slaughters the younglings at the Jedi Temple, then travels to Mustafar to silence the remaining Confederacy leaders. Obi-Wan shows up, and the two duel through the fire and the flames. In the end, Obi-Wan gets the high ground and defeats his old friend, leaving him to die on the lava banks. However, Darth Sidious finds Vader and revitalizes him with mechanical limbs and a noisy breathing apparatus. Elsewhere, Padme gives birth to twins, Luke and Leia, then dies. Obi-Wan takes Luke into hiding on Tatooine, while former Senator Bail Organa adopts Leia and takes her to Alderaan. Yoda goes into hiding on the swamp planet Dagobah. He won't be too lonely though. Qui-Gon has been hitting him up as a Force ghost and teaching him how to do it too. Age of the Empire, 19 BBY to 0 BBY. The Empire is in full reign of the galaxy, so obviously their next big move is to build a giant orbital planet-killing battle station. Under the cover of a sustainable energy initiative, they construct the Death Star's super laser. The lead scientist, Galen Erso, wises up to the Empire's true intentions. So in 17 BBY, he deserts the Empire. He, his wife Lyra, and their daughter Jin go into hiding on the planet Lamu for 4 years while production on the Death Star stalls. In 13 BBY, agents of the Empire track down the Ursos, murder Lyra, and abduct Galen. Jin stays hidden with the help of an extremist rebel, Saw Gerrera. Around the same time, on the planet Corellia, scrum rats Han and Kira make moves to escape their life of crime. Han smuggles a valuable vial of coaxium away from the bot's job for Lady Proxima. He and Kira plan to use it to bribe their way off-world. They make it to the spaceport, but Proxima's lackeys snatch Kira. The crime boss sells her into slavery, which eventually brings her into the custody of Dryden Voss. He's the figurehead of the Crimson Dawn crime syndicate, led by Darth Maul. with frickin' sick-ass robot legs. By 10 BBY, Kira becomes one of the Crimson Dawn's top agents. One of Voss's other criminal associates, Tobias Beckett, goes undercover as an Imperial mud trooper. He meets Han, who has been serving in the military ever since he lost Kira at the Corellia terminal. Han believes Kira is still there, so he joins Beckett and his band of thieves for a train heist. Oh, and he also brings his new Wookiee buddy, Chewbacca. Too bad the job goes horribly wrong. They lose the refined coaxium payload and half the team dies. Tails between their legs, Han, Chewbacca, and Beckett return to Dryden Voss to face the music. Han and Kira reunite, so Han gets cocky. He promises Voss a shipment of unrefined coaxium straight from the source, the spice mines on Kessel. He's definitely full of hot air, but he has to deliver if he wants to save his neck. To accomplish this impossible feat, Kira recommends they hook up with Lando Calrissian, captain of the fastest ship in the galaxy, the Millennium Falcon. Lando agrees to be their pilot for a cut of the payment, and with that, they're off to Kessel. This time, the heist is a success. Using the sophisticated routing system of Lando's piloting drone L337, the Falcon makes the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. The team arrives at Voss's rendezvous point with the coaxium, but they are intercepted by the Cloud Riders, a group of nondescript rebels who are resisting Imperial control. Han decides to give them the coaxium instead, so he tricks Voss. In the ensuing showdown, Kira kills Voss, and Han kills the double agent Beckett. Kira stays behind to work for Darth Maul and the Crimson Dawn. Then, Han wins the Millennium Falcon off Lando in a game of sabacc. But that's okay, because Lando would later win all of Cloud City in a card game. Afterward, the Cloud Riders give the unrefined coaxium to Saw Gerrera. Over the next 10 years, cells like the Cloud Riders merge to form the Rebel Alliance. Among their ranks is Princess Leia, Anakin's daughter, raised as Alderaan royalty. Luke, meanwhile, has grown into an ambitious, if a little whiny, young man who dreams of becoming a pilot. On the Imperial side of things, Galen Erso reluctantly completes the Death Star laser, but he sabotages it by installing an exposed reactor module. One hit would detonate the entire station, and that weak spot can be found in the Death Star schematics at the Citadel Tower on the planet Scarif. He sends this intel to Saw Gerrera, and the Rebel Alliance catches wind of it. They aren't on good terms with Gerrera, so they track down someone who is, Jyn Erso. She's made a pointed effort to stay away from the war. The rebel leaders convince her to give them an audience with Gerrera, so she leads them to his base on Jedha. Eventually, Gerrera shows Jyn her father's message. Before it finishes, the Empire uses their super laser to destroy the Holy City. Jin's team barely escapes, but Gerrera gets caught in the blast. Eventually, Rogue One infiltrates Citadel Tower and transmits the schematics to the Rebel command ship, achieving their first major victory. However, the Empire fires their laser down at the base, vanquishing the entire team. But thanks to their sacrifice, there's hope for the galaxy. Age of Rebellion, 0 BBY to 5 ABY. That hope lasts for all of 10 minutes before Darth Vader storms the rebel ship. Before she's taken captive, Princess Leia dispatches R2-D2 and C-3PO with the schematics to get help from Obi-Wan Kenobi. The droids wander the wasteland until some Jawas grab them and sell them to the local moisture farmer, Owen Lars, Luke's uncle. The persistent R2-D2 abandons the farm to find Obi-Wan, and Luke follows him out. When they meet Obi-Wan, he gives Luke his father's lightsaber and offers to bring him along to Alderaan, but Luke declines. He returns to his farm only to find it decimated by stormtroopers, and his aunt and uncle burnt to crisps. First things first, they need a pilot, so they hit up the Mos Eisley Cantina to find a ride. Luckily for them, Han Solo and Chewbacca are in town. After an Empire spy rats them out, they take off on the Millennium Falcon. As they're en route to Alderaan, the Empire uses the Death Star to eradicate the planet, so the gang arrives to only find wreckage. The battle station then pulls them aboard with its tractor beam, which works out in their favor since they need to save the princess anyway. While Luke and Han find Leia, Obi-Wan goes to shut down the station's tractor beam. He crosses paths with Darth Vader, and the two reprise their decades-old duel, albeit much slower and with a lot less lava. Luke and the others watch helplessly as Darth Vader strikes Obi-Wan down before them. With the princess saved and the schematic reclaimed, the Rebel Alliance regroups on Yavin 4. They devise a coordinated attack on the Death Star, in which they'll exploit Galen Erso's faulty reactor shaft to blow the whole damn thing into smithereens. The odds are low, and the situation looks grim. With much of the fleet taken out by Imperial TIE fighters, Vader is right on Luke's tail. But Han swoops in and bails him out. Luke takes the shot, it's a slam dunk, and the Death Star explodes. After this epic failure, the Empire decides the whole giant orbital planet-killing battle station thing was a good idea. It just needs to be bigger. They commenced construction on the Death Star 2, near the forest moon of Endor. For the next 3 years, the war continues, pushing the rebels into hiding on the ice planet Hoth. In 3 ABY, the Empire tracks them down and storms their base. The team splits up, with Luke heading to Dagobah to formally begin his Jedi training with Yoda, while Han, Leia, and Chewbacca make their way to Bespin to take shelter with Lando Calrissian. Darth Vader anticipates their arrival, so he strikes up a deal with Lando. The posse stumbles right into his trap. See, the Empire hired Boba Fett to track the Millennium Falcon. Now that the gang is in Vader's clutches, Han gets frozen in carbonite, and Boba Fett hauls him off to Tatooine. Luke senses that his friends are in danger, so he prematurely ends his training and scurries off to help. He confronts Darth Vader, and they duel deep inside Cloud City. But the inexperienced fighter is no match for the Sith Lord. Vader slices off Luke's hand and lets him know that he is his father. You know the line. Luke then drops into the depths of the floating colony, where the Millennium Falcon gives him a lift. The heroes are shaken, but their hope is unwavering. Over the next year, Luke acquires a shiny new hand and a shiny new lightsaber. In 4 ABY, he and his friends lead a rescue mission to save Han from Jabba's palace. In the process, Leia strangles the gluttonous Hutt, while Han sends Boba Fett spiraling off into the Sarlacc pit. Reunited, the rebels prepare for a final assault on the Empire, whose second Death Star is nearing completion. They set up shop on Endor and befriend the local merchandising opportunities, the Ewoks. While Lando leads the battle against the second Death Star in the Falcon, Luke journeys inside to face his father. Emperor Palpatine awaits him there and tries to entice Luke to the dark side. Luke is unflappable, so he and Vader clash lightsabers again. This time, Luke is triumphant, but still won't give in to the dark side. With Vader incapacitated and Luke's resolve strong, the Emperor whips out his electrical hands and forces the young Skywalker to the ground. Then, in his final act of father-son bonding, Vader lifts Palpatine and lobs him over a railing. Unfortunately, the full force of Palpatine's lightning has done its damage, and Vader is in critical condition. In his final moments, Luke unmasks his father to say goodbye to Anakin Skywalker, his true father. Luke escapes, Lando blows out the Death Star's core, and everyone parties back on Endor with the Ewoks. With the Empire severely weakened, the galaxy rejoices. The pillars of the Rebel Alliance become the foundation of a new republic. However, they're not out of the woods just yet. For the next year, the rebels ward off remnants of Imperial cells, culminating in the Battle of Jakku in 5 ABY. The crash of the Star Destroyer Inflictor marks the end of the Civil War, and that same year, Ben Solo is born to Leia and Han. Age of the New Republic, 5 ABY to 34 ABY. A decade after the Battle of Jakku, Rey is born. According to Kylo Ren, her parents are drunkards who pawn her off to Unkar Plutt for quick cash, but we don't know who they actually are. Either way, Rey keeps surviving as a junker on Jakku, convinced they'll return for her one day. She grows up outside the starship graveyard, wistfully imagining herself as one of the rebels. But the truth isn't so glamorous. Han Solo loses the Millennium Falcon to a red Nikto named Gannis Duquesne, who loses it to the Irving boys, who loses it to Unkar Plutt on Jakku. He and Chewbacca patiently wait for the tracking beacon to go back online so they can reclaim it. In 21 ABY, the remnants of the Empire rise from the ashes of the First Order, a legion of more violent, more vindictive extremists. They're under the leadership of Supreme Leader Snoke, a disfigured and unqualified commander with a flair for golden robes and rings. By 28 ABY, Leia becomes aware of this looming danger, but the Galactic Senate is unwilling to hear her out. They don't exactly trust Darth Vader's daughter, you know? So she resigns from the Senate, then aligns with other believers to form the Resistance. Luke rebuilds the Jedi Order and takes on a new generation of Padawans. One of them is his nephew Ben, who proves himself worthy of the powerful Skywalker lineage. So much so, in fact, that Luke fears him. In a moment of weakness, Luke contemplates murdering his nephew in his sleep, but his better judgment returns. It's too late though, as Ben wakes up to see Luke with his lightsaber at the ready. His faith in the Jedi shaken, Ben slaughters the other pupils and burns Luke's temple to the ground. He runs off with Supreme Leader Snoke and takes on a new alias, Kylo Ren. Guilty about his nephew's corruption, Luke turns his back on the Force and exiles himself to Ahch-To. Age of Resistance, 34 ABY to 35 ABY. The First Order runs with the Empire's giant orbital planet-killing battle station thing, only they decided to make it even bigger. They construct the Starkiller base, a weapon with the size and inhabitability of a planet. Leia believes the Resistance's only hope is to find Luke, so she enlists hot-headed pilot Poe Dameron to retrieve the map to Octo. Kylo Ren has also been on the hunt for this map, looking to kill his former master. When Poe and Ren collide on Jakku, Poe gets taken captive, but before he does, he dispatches the astromech BB-8 with the map to get help. Eventually, BB-8 stumbles upon Rey. Meanwhile, a stormtrooper named FN-2187 goes rogue and helps Poe escape from First Order custody. Poe gives him a nickname, Finn, and they crash land on Jakku. But Finn can't find a trace of Poe besides his jacket, so he dons it and heads to the outpost. Rey and BB-8 are there, and the astromech recognizes Poe's jacket, so they all join forces. With the First Order hot on their trail, they take off on the Millennium Falcon. With the beacon reactivated, Han and Chewbacca follow the signal and board the ship. While sympathetic to the cause, Han doesn't want to face the Resistance, meaning Leia. So they hit up Maz Kanata's place to find a willing ride. Once there, Rey finds Luke's old lightsaber, touches it, and gets flooded with Force visions. She barely has time to think it over when the First Order attacks, abducts her, and takes her back to Starkiller Base. With the aid of the Resistance, Han, Chewbacca, and Finn infiltrate the base. While Finn finds Rey, Han goes solo to blow up the station's thermal oscillator. He crosses paths with Kylo Ren, and Han tries to turn him back to the light. Rey and Finn watch helplessly as Kylo Ren strikes Han down before them. In a fury, Chewbacca shoots Kylo with his bowcaster, severely injuring him and blowing up the explosives, creating an opening for Poe Dameron to destroy the thermal oscillator and Starkiller Base along with it. As the planet crumbles around them, Kylo chases Rey and Finn into the snowy woods. Kylo slices Finn's back, but Rey taps into her latent force powers and overcomes the injured warrior. All three of them escape before Starkiller Base finally explodes. With the map to Octo reclaimed, Leia sends Rey to find Luke, but the rest of the Resistance has a problem on their hands. The First Order is hunting them down, and they're all forced to retreat. From here on in, there's a harrowing space chase as the First Order picks off Resistance ships one by one. Leia's in a coma, her buddy Admiral Holdo takes over. Finn and this random engineer named Rose head to a casino planet called Canto Bight. There's a lot going on. On Octo, Rey meets the old Jedi Master, but he is unwilling to join the Resistance. Even so, Rey persuades Luke to teach her the ways of the Force, and even though he's fearful of her power, he obliges. Throughout their training, Rey has Force calls with Kylo, and the two become convinced that they can turn the other to join them. She tells Luke about her plan to turn Kylo, but Luke's not having any of it. After they clash, Luke has a heart-to-heart with Yoda. Yoda suddenly burns down the old Jedi tree, assuring Luke that failure is the greatest teacher. Luke's worried about the sacred Jedi texts, but Rey swiped them before she departed for Snoke's battleship. Once she's on board, Kylo Ren delivers her directly to Snoke, but in a turn of events, Kylo Ren gives the Supreme Leader the Darth Maul treatment, and he and Rey team up and duke it out with the elite Praetorian Guards. At the end of the battle, Kylo doesn't want to join the light or the darkness. He wants to just do his own thing. He invites Rey to join him, but she refuses and escapes after they destroy Luke's lightsaber. In this time, Leia comes too. Finn and Rose's mission to Canto Bight turned out to be an utter failure, and Admiral Holdo wiped out a bunch of the First Order fleet by crashing the Resistance ship into them at light speed. Badass scene, will not lie. Despite her sacrifice, the First Order have cornered the last of the Resistance on the salt planet Crate. Kylo Ren intends to make the killing blow there, but Luke basically pulls the greatest Jedi mind trick of all time. He creates a force projection of himself from across the galaxy and battles Kylo Ren in front of everyone. Their battle buys the rebels enough time to escape, but Luke exerts too much energy. He fades away, becoming one with the Force. Now, Luke is gone. The Resistance has been all but decimated, but the spark of rebellion has restored hope to the people across the galaxy. And that's what we know heading into Rise of Skywalker. We obviously condensed a lot of history here, so go ahead and fill in the blanks in the comments. And remember to subscribe to Cinematica for more timelines like this one. I've been your host, Justice, and we'll see you next time.